Hello all, this is Team Web Squad. My name is Sushma Sri Luntineni and my project partner is Maunika Ravi. Today we would like to explain about our project 2 of web programming called the Luck Board. Next slide please. So here is the brief description of the game. This is a luck based game. So the outcome of this game is completely dependent on luck. And the general requirement in order to play this game is having two players. Players start from number one, which is at the bottom, and they need to reach number 100, which is on the top. And there are some danger zones in middle, which players need to avoid. And of course, avoiding those will not be in their hands because it's purely based on the luck and the number that is shown on the dice randomly. And if players come into contact with one of the danger positions, they will lose points and step back. Otherwise, they will advance and move forward. And whoever reaches the top, that is 100, first wins. Next slide, please. And here is the UML diagram. Just the diagrammatic representation of what I told just now. Two players, player one and player two, throws the dice one after the other and moves forward. And if they get contact with the danger zone, then automatically they will move back 5 steps. And if the player does not uh, comes in contact with the danger zone, then he will move forward, and the winner is the one who reaches the top. And thank you. Now my teammate Maunika Ravi will continue.
So this is the landing page of the project or the application. Basically, this is the registration page, and the player has to register himself first in order to proceed further. So here, he has to enter the username, the email ID, and then accept to the terms and conditions, and then sign up to the game. On the left side of this, you can see the CSS code that the CSS that has been used to create this page. There is nothing very complex in it. It's just a simple CSS with margins, borders, and width. The validation used here is all the three form fields are mandatory. So if the user misses any of these, he will not be able to sign in and will be prompted this message to fill in the missing values. Only once all the three values are filled in, will the user be able to proceed further and sign into the game. So this is the UI for entering the players names that are actually going to play the game. This is player one and this is player two, and there are links to home page, game, about, and summary, which we will see in the later slides. So this is the about page. The name here, Martian, is what will be entered here. So that is the username that will be displayed here on the about screen. And this is the name of the game. And here there's a short description of how the game should be played and what the game actually is. And then once the player clicks on play the game, that is when this screen appears, and then they enter the player names. And then once they click on start, this screen appears, and this is the actual this is the actual game board that will game board. And here on the right side, we see the scoreboard of both the players, and in between we see the that number on the die that actually the player actually got. And once you click on roll your dice, the player's die will be rolled, and then he or she gets the value for their turn. So as we see, there are 100 numbers, 1 through 100, and there are gray spots and yellow spots. The yellow spots are the ones that are called the hazardous zone, which reduces the player's points. And the gray spots are the safe zone, where the player actually can, where if landed on the gray spot, the player can move further. If landed on the yellow spot, the player will be taken back a few steps. This is the summary screen where there are project details, the names of the team members, and their roles and responsibilities. And there's a link to the homepage that takes us obviously to the homepage. This code actually restricts the player restricts the player to roll the dice twice. That is, one player can roll the dice only once. That is when it's his turn to play. Uh, Once his turn is over, the button will be disabled. As we see, there's a disable condition here. So once it will be enabled only once the other player has played and it's their turn to play again. These are the code snippets of the hazarded movement and the safe movement. As we see, the count percentile 7 basically means that every 7 block on the board is a hazardous zone, and if landed on 1, the player will be taken 5 steps. The player will be taken 5 steps back, and this message will be displayed saying it's you stepped on hazard zone. So the player 1 or player 2, here it's player 1, player 0, so it's player 1, whoever entered the name first, and then goes back steps 5. That is what will be displayed. Similarly with player 2. And here on the right side we see the safe moment. That is, if they landed on a non-yellow zone or a gray zone. So if the count is 0, it means that the player has reached the top of the board, that is 100. Sorry, if the count is 100, sorry, the count is 100, it means that the player has reached the top of the board, that is the 100th number, and the one who reads first is the winner. So that is what will be displayed. This is for the first player and this is for the second player. And this one basically means if both the players land on the same block of number, it just changes the color to yellow, since each player has a different color. But if this so we see there's cyan for one player and green for one player. If both the players land on the same block, it displays a yellow, saying that just to show that both of them are on the same block. This is the CSS for the board. As we see, for every as we see, for there's a gray background for the non-hazardous zone, and the orange background is for the hazardous zone, and the rest is just simple table CSS with uh, it's all simple CSS. It's a simple CSS. This is the picture hovering. This is a simple hover transition effect, which on hover the image just zooms in, and once the mouse is out of the image, it just goes back to its same position. I mean the same scale. Coming to the testing, we did test with the CSS validator and the HTML validator, and the browsers we used for testing are Chrome, Mozilla, and Firefox, and the application did run fine on all the browsers, and it also passed the CSS and HTML validators. That was end of the presentation. Thank you so much.